their jobs, the economy's torn up, and they need medical care. Well, we have to do something for them too. And, North Carolina has been a state that hasn't expanded Medicaid yet. And we were actually working on a plan to do that until this all hit. And it got delayed a little bit. And, there are managed care companies that are working towards making more open and available Medicaid system. But unfortunately, this has shot the budgets of the state completely. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I would like to talk to you too, because I know you sit on the board of what we're making the decisions of what we're going to be doing here in North Carolina. So I would love to have more talks on that as well.
Yeah, I'm lucky because I'm with the board of the North Carolina Medical Society. I'm on the board of Centene, one of those Medicaid. So just full disclosure, I'm on the board of one of those Medicaid managed care insurance companies. I'm on the board of the medical decision making for that as well. So they have a primary care physician making the decisions, not an accountant who says, okay, these numbers make sense. So that we've always needed physician leadership at the front lines. So Carolina Complete Health, which is the insurance company made by Centene, has doctors in the front lines of the decision making, not businessmen, not
it's not like Blue Cross where somebody's making a decision on whether I get a treatment or not as an accountant.
Well, it'll be like that too. There's going to be insurance numbers as well because you got to stay solvent. But Blue Cross Blue Shield has actually done a good job. They actually chose, physicians as their CEOs. They were the first group to respond to doctors here. In fact, they were the first ones to say, telehealth, we're going to pay the same as everybody else, as every other visit. And they said, we got to take care of the doctors. We don't want you guys to follow. They were the first insurance company that told us.
I'm glad to hear that.
So they actually understand what's important. I was, you're quite surprised when you're butting heads with insurance companies all the time. And then you really feel that they understand when they do that and you didn't even ask for it. So that was pretty amazing on their part.
No, I'm sure that there's a lot of the good stories we don't hear about the insurance company. So I'm glad you shared that because, you hear all the bad. You don't ever hear the good. And I'm glad to hear that they actually put physicians. So Dr. Chula is with us from India. Have you met Dr. Chula yet, Dr. Art?
No, not yet. How are you?
So Dr.
How
Chula
are you doing?
Doing well.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Dr. Chula, how is it going?
Kim and Willie, my dear friend, and Kim, they are doing great. I mean,
good.
Willie is always smiling because he's sitting in Australia, the socialist setup of healthcare, all needs taken care of.
Yeah,
so no problems at all.
Taking off. He's one of few who have a startup that's actually taking off. Yay! Success stories on IBM TV. This is what I tell people. We're about the positive influence of making things right. Finding the solutions. We're not, we can talk about the problems, but we're not here to just complain about them. We're here to find the solutions. And Dr. Chula, you've had quite an interesting journey since you've been with us. When I first met you. So how are things going?
So, in India, you've seen Ankit has already been appraising you about what is happening in India. So apparently, there's been a lot of, the central government has extended the lockdown for a period of another 2 weeks with a little bit of riders here and there. But the states, that means they have come very heavily down on the lockdown, and they are still pursuing the policy of, trying to keep ourselves as much as locked out as possible. So, it's a complex scenario. The challenges are there, but this is what we need to understand, that ultimately we as a country are not a country which has unlimited resources. So we'll have to keep ourselves balanced and balance the whole thing out. But then primarily the most important thing I believe as a physician always is saving lives. So I am bent with the mindset of basically saving lives more than, honestly speaking, doing anything else. So I presume that is what should be the first priority on our list, that is saving lives. And if it means, enhancing the lockdown or trying to open up the economies in a graded fashion, I think that is the only way out.
No, I think you're right. I think we were talking about that with Dr. Art, who is on the front lines here in North Carolina. And they've seen a small rise here, and they've actually started finally getting the counts per zip code or per county area, so that we can centralize it a little bit better, because data is very important. But staying at home right now, we're right there at that peak. Let's reduce it. One of the letters I read from one of the physicians at one of the hospitals, she said, just get it down to where we show 0 right now, new cases. It's just 0 new cases. They were starting from a ground zero. And I know she said, I know it's a lot to ask for, but maybe we're talking about another month. Then when we go back to reentry, we're not overwhelming our beds at the hospital, right? We're able to clean up what we have. And we start from ground zero. It's easier to monitor. It's easier to maintain. Her fear is right now she's got enough ventilators and beds for the patients that we have right now. But if we re-enter today, we're not going to have enough. She said that her fear is it's going to catch fire somewhere and spread. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, so I believe that the most important thing is that all the prominent leaders in the community, and I mean all the influential people, I would say even people who look up to, they should send this message down all across people around, because you need to understand that, I mean, people like Kim, you will understand what we are going through, right? What happens is, I've seen over a period of time all across in news channels and everything, I see a lot of people who are not able to understand the gravity of the situation, or they don't want to see the writing on the wall. Now, that's a big challenge, because we need to understand that ultimately sane people like you are seeing what is the writing on the wall. Right. Unfortunately, there are, I should not use the word, but there are a lot of idiots running around who don't understand, right? And we need to understand that life is paramount. If you are alive, that is life. If you are not there, what is life without you? I mean, you may have all the riches in the world, but ultimately, if you're not alive, then what are you looking at?
What is the purpose of the money? And, Dr. Arch said something, because it's in his mind, we're treating a lot of young people, but it's the elderly that die from this disease because they just don't have the immunity to fight it, and they're dying alone. And he said that just breaks his heart. He actually started, tears started to shed of the visions that he's had of people who've had to die alone, no hugs, goodbye, they can't touch them. And this is what he said, do you want to go out and reinfect everybody and get grandma and grandpa sick and they die alone? This is how, he said, think responsible is what he's trying to say. Think responsible. Do we want to kill grandma and grandpa? No. Just stay home a little bit longer, right?
So we should remember that we should not be selfish.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm talking about the younger generation. They should not be selfish. They should be looking at the people who have built their countries, who have built them to the status where they are. I mean, look at our elderly generation. I'm not speaking from an emotional point of view. I'm speaking from a very practical point of view. I mean, if they would not have toiled, would we be sitting here and discussing all of this?
No.
I don't think so. Right? No. So I presume one generation always is a path bearer to the other generation, right? So apparently the people who are in their golden years, they have also built their lifetime. It's not that their lives are dispensable. And I think we should be very responsible in taking care of them. And I do not believe at all with this. I mean, there are some proponents of this theory who say very easily that, okay, this much oldies will die, what is going to happen? I mean, I really don't adhere or, promote or, would like to even comment on that, because I don't think no one is indispensable. As well as the older people, I believe they have every right to live through whatever is the timeline of their life cycle. So we should not be pushing them or making them, butchering them or putting them on an altar just to please some people somewhere else. So I don't think we should. I think every human has has dignity to life, and we should respect that.
No, I agree with you. I think we need to consider that it's about everyone. It's not about you yourself. And if we take care of ourselves, then we can take care of other people. But I think it's coming down to respect, that humbleness that we've lost over the years. I think it just is coming down to respect. Immunity and respect is very, very important. And something we keep talking about is just rebuilding our immunity. We talked about it today. We've let ourselves go, but that's loss of respect if you think about it, because we don't treat our bodies right. That's a loss of respect too. So I think we got to get back to respect and you know, care about each other, love each other, right? And share. You know, right now, all I've been hearing all week, and I've had to shut myself off from it, because I was getting a little bit depressed, like we all probably are, just staying at home a lot. Even though spending more time with family, I am actually, unfortunately, not. I'm spending the same amount of time, but that I normally do. But it's just all of the you know, people are worried about money, the financial situation, and the politics, and I guess it hit me really hard this week when one of our top ER physicians in New York committed suicide. That hit hard. It did. I'm just like, what are we doing to our people? If we're not able to protect our physicians, it's devastating. And I think
Kimberly, that is what is happening. See, what we are doing is we are doing a lot of, I would say, fancy drills all around, right? So that means that we are clapping for people, we're trying to build their morale. But please understand one thing: there are two, three things which we need to really do with the physicians who are at the front line, right? People, I even consider myself as a bystander. I am not at the front line of treating people, right? So I believe that the people who are really at the front line and treating people, one, we should ensure that their families, I mean, see, it's a risk. It's a risk they're taking, right? I mean, it's a hazard, a professional hazard, you may call it, or whatever, but it is a risk they are taking. So one, we should ensure that financially their families are backed up, right? Number one, that is more important. That, I mean, they should have some kind of financial security at their house, because every day when they are stepping out to treat people who are COVID positive, there is a likelihood that they can get infected. And I mean, I'm not, playing a soothsayer or a doomsday player here, but the chances are that they may not come back, right? So
right.
it's very important that we need to understand all the governments all across the world. They should ensure, one, that the people who are working at the forefront, they should be the protected lot, both as well as when it comes to workplace ethics, they should be protected, as well as financially also they should be protected, right? So
Right.
that they tread into this zone without fear and without feeling that, okay, if something happens to me, what happens to my family, right? If you have that kind of protection, then apparently when you are putting, you always put your best foot forward, right? And this is a problem which is happening in India also. There are a lot of people, especially in the government sector, there are a lot of nurses and all, where they don't have the proper kind of PPE, so they are breaking down. And also I've come across a lot of reports coming in where see, doctors anyway will survive because the salaries and all are still better off than the nurses and all the people who are at the lower rank. And we've heard that the nurses have been not paid for 2 months and all that, salary issues also coming up. So I mean, it's a depressing time for all of them. One, they are seeing, they're basically looking into the eyes of death every day. So it's frustrating because the treatment, of course, at the moment we don't have a concrete treatment for the problem. So it's a challenging time for them. Plus, they are being socially isolated. That means they are not allowed to go and meet their families and all. So it's a double whammy for them. So it's not easy. So I mean, all these symbolic gestures, though they look very good for TV and papers, I mean, virtually, what are we doing around it? We'll fly jets at half past. We'll play bands in front of hospitals. I don't think, honestly speaking, we should be looking at the other aspect of it. I mean, see, respect and all these things, they will keep on. I mean, of course, people who are fighting at the forefront, they are people who need to be encouraged, but at the same time they need to be told that okay, if something happens to you, we are there for your family. Because if you are not going to give them this, I mean, this solace, then I think this whole thing around is just I mean, this is the dramatics which is taking over. We are not, or we can say social marketing. I would like to use that word, right? Effectively, we are not doing anything for them then.
No, we're not. And I think those are some things that some task lists that need to be made on how do we address those issues, because there's just so many other things that we're overlooking in the whole big picture of all of this, right? We're just so narrowly driven on just this. But no, I agree with you. And I don't know how we begin. What are some ways that we can move forward and change this? And I'm hoping that we make changes for the good. Like I've heard that. Go ahead.
So unfortunately, Kimberly, again, the problem is that this solution, unfortunately, lies in the hand of our elected leaders. Unfortunately, I am saying that because unfortunately is the word I would like to use there, because I presume they neither have the bandwidth nor are they able to understand. They have unfortunately fallen into this trap of populistic measures and populistic marketing measures, I would like to use the word. Again and again, I'm using this word marketing because please understand, every country is trying to replicate what the other countries are doing in the hoopla business, right? That means banging of utensils, doing salute, flying these big planes all across the countryside and trying to, shower petals at this. All this is what is it going to do at the end of the day?
Nothing. It's not doing anything.
Honestly, tell me what is a health worker? What is this going to do to a health worker?
It doesn't help.
Right.
It's not even they I know that what they're trying to do, they're trying to just mentally get people built up, yes. but it's not because if we don't fix the problem, we're not fixing us mentally either. So
what they're basically trying to do is they're trying to lift the morale of other people around it, right? So ultimately that is okay. There's no problem in that. I'm not saying that that's a bad way of doing it. We should be engaging the normal public also into a lot of activities, but I presume that we should be very clear in what we are doing for whom. Yeah. So health workers will require that kind of, we need to give them that comfort or cushion financially also, where we say that, okay, hey guy, you go there, you try your best. If something happens to you, we are there to look after your family. Right. Unfortunately, that is not coming out of the mouth of anyone. So even governments with us, what they've done is they've insured health workers. They've given a medical insurance. Now, medical insurance, honestly speaking, I have also worked in hospitals, in the private hospitals. Now, what happens in Indian private hospitals is as soon as you join the hospital, there is a insurance cover, depending upon your rank, or I would say the pay band and all. So you have an insurance cover ranging from 2 lakh to around 10 lakh given to you for medical insurance, right? So apparently all of these private people, they have some kind of medical insurance. Maybe the amount may not be that great, right? Now, medical insurance is not life insurance. We need to understand that. Yeah. So medical insurance means that if you fall ill or if you get struck by COVID, so they will, treat you during that entire period of time. But God forbid, if something bad happens to you, then what happens? So there is no money which goes to your family or anything. We need to understand that.
Well, so some people have, insurance policies. They're not very big, but sometimes it'll cover the burial. But that's my other concern is all of these people who have died from this, and you've got all of these. I don't know what it's like in India, but in the U.S., it's very expensive to have funerals, or even a burial can cost you up to $8,000. Cremation is about $5,000 to $6,000. So. It's, and who carries that weight, that burden, like you're saying, who's paying for these expenses? Because it shouldn't fall on the family shoulders. Yes, Ankit.
as Dr. Thule said, I completely agree. But also we need to understand we are talking about all this money thing. But again, I'll tell you, we are not talking about social scores. No one have a social score. No one have a health score. We are talking about how much credit score you have. So till the time we are not talking about social score, what kind of social skills you have to reach out to the world. Because if you are a human being, you have to do a lot of good things as well. It's not about just earning dollars. And also, no one talked about your health score as well. So till the time we'll talk about credit score, things will be like that only. Till the time we'll show that I have 15 credit cards, we have 25 credit cards, and we have this and we have that. It's all about the same thing, and that's happened with the insurance companies. I'm trying to reach out to a lot of insurance companies and see how much money they are donating in this pandemic.
No,
I'm
they
not
won't.
able to find. I'm not able to find a single penny, and they are taking money from us during this pandemic as well, and they're not covering us at this point of time. So what's the point of these insurance companies? I don't know what to say about all those things, but doctors know, because they treat the patients, and they know that sometimes patient doesn't have money, and they don't know what to do at that point of time. Some doctors I know, they pay from their pocket as well. I know a lot of doctors, so they pitch up and they pay from their pockets just to make sure that the patient will get back home safe and healthy. I think Dr. Tula can share more picture on that, but that's happening around. I mean,
See, Ankit, the basic problem we need to understand one thing, that over a period of time, what has happened is, I mean, I'm not defending any profession, but what has happened into the medical profession also has, if we, analyze and introspect. See, what happens is that there is a lot of grind which goes into the profession, right?
yeah,
So, because the studious character of the, study is like that, that you're spending at least around, if you go to a super specialist level, then if you go without a break, you're spending basically anywhere around approximately 11 to 12 years in this entire grind,
yeah,
right? So what
Yes.
happens is, by the time you are into a level and you start earning, you are already, when it comes to the
right,
materialistic things of it, you're already way far behind your other colleagues who are into different branches, and they are already well settled and everything. So
yeah,
what happens is that over a period of time, this the professional doctors also get sucked into this entire materialistic thing, right? So what happens is, they will then start, there is this mad rush of trying to, because ultimately they will get married, they will have children, they will want also to give a good life to their families and all that, right? By the time they get into their 50s and 60s, they suddenly start realizing that ultimately, maximum doctors at that age, what I've seen all around, there may be a few black sheep. Apart from there, they have a tendency of giving back into the society, right? But I would like, honestly speaking, if I were to, weigh and make the wheel change, my first thing would be that we have a certain kind of graded pay scale for doctors across, right? So you don't get into this money thing. Now what happens is, you are earning 2, you will want to earn 4. This is a rat race. Honestly speaking, this is happening all across. See, we need to understand that medicine cannot be business. Unfortunately, what has happened over a period of time is that, I mean, despite, doctors not wanting to get into it, they have been sucked inside the system. The system has been made it into such that large corporates are holding the show. And ultimately, corporate, please understand one thing very clearly, that any corporate or any business house is not there for charity, right? So they are in to make money. I have no problems in their making money, but what I want is that at least there should be some amount of giving back into the society also, right? So if you have money, then only you will be able to give back. If you are not having any money, where are we going to do the charity from? But my only grievance, or you can say, is that when situations like these arise, then they have to ensure that they are giving back to the society, which doesn't happen all of the time.
No,
So
I
I had a
agree.
thing.
I agree. Mohammed, what have you got?
I have three views actually. One thing, Dr. Tula, this time in India, the business community has donated 68,000 crore to the
Yes,
PM Care Fund. It is very good thing, and thanks to all the business community and the social communities, Bollywoods and all. So they have come up, and we have to make more aware the how serious this issue and how financial crunch is going on in within the country and across the world. So everyone has to understand this pain actually. This is the need of the hour. I just want to share two things which is completely new, which we have already discussed on the IBM earlier. The term is WPO, World Pandemic Organization. Actually we discussed, and I imagine and something the 10 commandments of WPO, what would be the future step. See, this time we are fighting with the corona, and see, and we will overcome, inshallah, in days to come. But we have to have the WPA, World Pandemic Organization, in place to take care further. So I have 10 commandments, and I want to share that, if you allow me. Should I
Yes.
go
Sure,
ahead?
sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So first thing, the first number is planning like an army. So we army always ready to fight. If somebody will, some country will fight, then how an army will react. So army is ready to fight back to the enemy. So we, healthcare army should always be ready to fight back with the pandemic. Second is the bifurcation of hospitals. This time what happens, the we were treating corona like a so from day one we can bifurcate, this is a pandemic hospital, this is a non-pandemic hospital. So the this time we cannot care those serious patient also, because of the fear of the infection. Okay. Third thing, their list should be ready of NGOs, those NGOs who are really working for the nation, for the noble cause, and not for the gain. So we have to have the list ready with us, so that we can give the approval in fast track, so that they can join hands together with the government, and they can work together as such. Fourth thing, society face value is required right now. See, nobody is ready to listen. So, and government is just giving a guideline, don't come out, use mask, do this, do that. There should be face value, there should be a brand ambassador in every country, or maybe in a country 10% should be face value from different fraternity, so that they can come up, like politicians or the media person, social workers, Bollywood workers, even so many other business communities should have, there should be a ready society face value, so that they can make aware, they can convince the people what to do, what not to do. These are the need of the hour. Fifth is financial assistance to people. So this time whatever country is doing for financial support to the people is not the sufficient actually. Some country is doing the best, and some country is doing the worst, because they don't have plan. They so peoples are dependent on the government's policy. Government will come some package and will help them up. Second thing is the mental health support system. There should be a team, a specialized, planned way to help the needy people, because depression is a common thing even in the normal situation. But this situation, mental health support system is required in everywhere in the world. And seventh is who will supply what. See, this time there is a mess. From where to buy masks, from where to buy sanitizer and PPE and some other things. So we have to have this information in advance, and we should know well in advance that what are the production capacity of this company. We should list those company in advance, so that we cannot face the challenge at the time. At the positive role of media, politician, and the religious leaders, we have to have, see, all the politicians are not worst, all the media person and political leaders and religious people are not the worst. Some few are doing the wrong thing, but we have to have the information in place to plan in a way that those leaders, religious leaders or religious guru or politician or media person, can help them to make aware, to help them to follow the rules and guidelines of the country. Ninth guideline is how to improve immunity naturally. We have to have plan right now, and we should make aware. It's not only the responsibility of a doctor, but it's the responsibility of everyone. This is the need of the hour. This is like an arms and ammunition for us. And last, don't ignore BPL, below poverty line people, because right now this is 600 million, and it might be the 1,000 million below poverty line people. So we have to convert them up from the BPL. This is need of the hour.
Mhm.
So this commandment is need of the hour from my point of view, and we have already discussed about the WPO, World Pandemic Organization. I think, is there any questions?
No, and those are some really heavy points. We could almost do a show on each one of them because, I mean, Dr. Tula, what do you think? I mean, because these are some valid
See-
things that we got to consider.
What he talks, our dear friend Mohammed talks is perfectly all right. The only problem is that you need to understand all the countries have to come together. That is the big challenge, and that is the biggest challenge. Honestly speaking, I don't think there is problem with the people. I mean, look at all of us.
Leaders.
We've come across all different nations, all different societies. Yet we are talking in a friendly manner. There is no hostility towards anyone, right? And see what happens to the politicians. You get the politicians on this show, I can assure you, you will enjoy them.
No, I
You will enjoy the politicians on the show.
no
You get politicians from India.
See,
You
who
get
is the
politicians
politician?
from your part
We
of
are
the
going to
world.
be the politician.
Yeah,
See, politicians are not the qualified person. They are not qualified to be politics.
No, I'm just
We
telling
are
that.
the one
So
who come into the politics.
I'm going to take a vote here as a person of the world. That I just don't think leaders should be controlling pandemics.
Yes.
Unless they are a doctor or a scientist of some kind.
Mhm.
I think in any pandemic situation that it should be managed by appointed people who know how to deal with it. Like you were saying, if you're going to fund war, you fund war with warriors. Why aren't we taking care of this with our warriors for a pandemic? There are people who do this for a living or understand it. We've seen it in past or epidemics to reduce the spread. So I think that's number one is now we need to start appointing our warriors for pandemics, because this will not be the last attack on us from a virus. But that you just hit the nail on the head. I mean, wow. Because that's a lot of things to absorb. If you carried all of that to a leader, he would shut down. He would have a meltdown. With the leaders, I've learned you got to go three items at a time. You can't take more than 3 items. And so what we need to do is probably take a look at those and go, hey, these are the 3 that we really need to focus on. But I think right now what I'm hearing is we still need to wait it out. I know that most countries have given an extension of time, which is killing people who are staying home and being good. And we got solutions for that. We got Alexandra May, whoop, whoop, an awesome cafe on Sunday.
Yeah.
But we've also got chess stars. Alexandra Sasha Star decided to do lectures on chess and how to guess the next moves every Saturday afternoon. So there are things that you can do. You don't have to sit at home and feel sorry for yourself. If you've got something that you need or need to get off your chest, go live at ibm.tv and share with us. And if you need some help, we've got doctors, folks. If you're suffering from a sickness and you don't have a doctor to call, reach out to us. We'll help you find somebody to talk to. Dr. Art said that he's got more time now to take phone calls because he's not treating patients at the doctor's office anymore. So what do we do, right? Use the phone. Who do you call? Your doctor. We're virus busters and not Ghostbusters. We're virus busters. Who are you going to call?
Virus busters.
Yes, virus busters. COVID busters.
COVID busters.
You got to have a little fun. Laughter, I think, is sometimes the best medicine. Right now, we've had a lot of tears today. I think my heart just got broken today. And so I'm going to figure out how to fix that problem because my heart cannot bear any more old people dying alone. After he shared that story with me today, I was almost on meltdown. If my computer didn't shut off soon, I think I was going to shut it off because, these old people, they've given their lives to our world, 70, 80 years. And for them to we all know we have to die sometime. I hate the people who say that we all have to die sometime. Yeah, I get it, people. I get it. We're all going to die sometime. But there's too many people dying without somebody holding their hand. And, so we're going to fix that problem too. But the biggest thing we're going to do is build our immunity. Like Dr. Tula has been sharing with us since day one. Day one, he has told us this. And keep our hands clean, keep our environment clean, wear masks, not because of you, people, because you love everyone else. You don't want to share that disease, and you wear it right. Watch our other show, wear it right. And but think about other people. But if you're alone, join us on Sunday with Alexandra May and the beautiful music that she's bringing to the world. We got some great guests coming up. I don't know about just this weekend, but I know other ones that we've been talking to that I'm just like super excited about.
Yeah.
And, but share with us, Alexandra, some good happy news.
Okay, some good happy news. So you're totally right, Kim. This has become one of the highlights of my week to do this show, because it's literally all about music and chatting to some really cool people who just are so passionate about what they do. And I love people's passion. I just want to like eat it up. I'm one of those people. So you're right. This week's a pretty cool week. We're going full on musical theater themed. So last week we sort of dabbled in a bit of musical theater, but with some legends in both worlds, both the pop world and then a bit of musical theater. This week is just 3 legends in musical theater. So the first person I want to tell you guys about is Jared Nerdin. Now he just starred as Rocky in the Rocky Horror Picture Show in South Africa here, and he was just amazing. He has done a whole lot of musical theater shows, which we're going to dive into when he's on tomorrow night. He has been nominated for numerous awards. He has traveled the world. So he's one of those fabulous people. I literally sent him a voice note, and I got this one back, and I just was like, I like you. You're cool. I like you. He just exudes that energy. So he's going to be cool to chat to. Then we have a beautiful woman called Carmen Pretorius. Now, Carmen Pretorius, I've known since I was a little girl. We sort of have been, she's older than me, but we've always been in similar circles. We went to the same singing teacher. But wow. She got a big break in High School Musical live on stage, when one of our theater directors in South Africa did an audition looking for the cast of High School Musical live on stage, and she won the part of Gabriella. So she has just skyrocketed since then. She was Roxy Hart in Chicago. She was Maria in Sound of Music. She's won Florida Cap. She's been nominated left, right, and center. She's been on TV. She's been in soapies. She's done everything. So she is going to be a beautiful guest. And last but not least, we have Anton Lerting. Now he actually was in a few productions with my sister Isabella Jane when she was in Evita. So they've got a bit of a relationship, and Isabella's probably going to hop on with us as a bit of a pop in just to say hi. But Anton has been the director of a few of these shows. He has starred in a few of these shows. He was Magaldi in Evita. He's actually got his own musical theater workshop. He's got his own musical theater academy. So I'm interested to see what he's doing during this time in lockdown. How is he teaching his students online? How are they coping through all of this? So it's just going to be a really cool week chatting about their experience in musical theater, having traveled the world, having been exposed to many different cultures and languages and worlds that we would never usually see, So I'm really interested to see what they all say about that and how they all feel about lockdown, because I know a lot of productions are supposed to be rehearsing now. They're supposed to be going live now, and a lot of these musical theater actors and actresses are out of work. They have no work. That is it. And that's it for the next however many 6 months, possibly in South Africa. So I'm interested to see their take on things, and just listen to some great people and show some clips of them performing and some really cool pictures. So yeah, it's gonna be a great week.
And share some wise words from all of our medical professionals. Dr. Tula, I know you have to leave. Do you have some wise words to leave us with? And I hope that we can get you to join in on some of our festivities over the weekend.
My only hand-holded request to all the people is stay home, stay safe, stay away from people, try not to contact too many people,
Mm.
speak on the phone, right? Use the virtual world, connect with each other, joke with each other, relax, eat well, right? And relax. The most important thing is keep the mind cool, right? The mind has to be kept cool even if you have to put some ice on top of it. Just
Put
keep
some
yourself
ice
cool.
on it and watch Alexandra, right? Put some ice on and watch. You know what?
Just
Are
keep
you
yourself cool.
telling us to chill out?
No, because see what has
Chill
I
out.
don't go to yeah, because see what is happening is, see I generally was going into a little bit of social media. In India, social media at this moment, people are virtually fighting wars on this social media platform. So I was taken aback. I thought that this is I mean, what are people doing? So what I've realized is that everyone's frustration, basically inbuilt frustration, is being, I mean, thrown into, they're throwing gauntlets at each other. It's
Yeah.
virtually like a sword fight which is happening. So, so the first thing I went was that I went off social media, especially from these politically motivated programs.
I've
I
had
said
to
I'm
do
not
the
going to
same
be a part
thing.
of them.
Yeah.
So I said I'll just relax. So that's why I'm telling you that put an ice block on the head. Right? That's the best way to chill yourself, and
Chill
so you
out.
don't fight with people, and that
I'm
makes
good.
it easy. Right?
I'm good. Thank
Take care.
you,
God
Dr.
bless
Tula.
you.
Thank you.
Take
We
care.
love you.
Pleasure.
Take care.
Pleasure.